Was it not on?
Yeah, this one's on. So you're good.
Am I live?
Yeah.
Spectacular. Right on.
All right. Sup? Cool.
There we go. Fantastic. Okay, Evan, so you got the smaller section up there. Looks
Yep.
good. All right. Hey, Winston.
What's up, Winston?
All right, everyone, thank you for joining us. This is our first stream. We just took delivery of a bunch of equipment yesterday, set everything up. We're very excited. More of this to come in the future, of course. A little bit trial and error, but bear with us. We have an exciting Mech 16 here, a dear favorite of mine, the Mech 17. We could talk about it, answer any questions, maybe run some benchmarks. And we look forward to growing this solution here over the next couple of weeks as we're taking this very seriously with a big smile on our face like children. This is it's a very good time. So Evan is our main system builder, and he ultimately is responsible for, picking out all this equipment and setting this up. So Evan, thank you so much. And this is a lot of fun. He and I have been very excited for the last week and a half to do this. So Evan, how does everything sound?
Everything sounds good so far from what I can tell.
Okay, great.
Your voice sounds clearer than ever.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
So again, you just let me know whenever you want to switch stuff, and I got you.
Yeah, let's see if we can get any more people going on in the chat here instead of just you and Winston. Oh, man. I wish these laptops ran hot. I might actually warm up in here. I'm freezing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it because it's right on me.
Yeah, you've got the heater over by you. I am cold.
I'm in the best spot.
All right, well, let's let me get a couple things running here, Evan.
Okay, let me know when you're ready for me to switch over.
Sure, I will definitely. I'm gonna forward this over to my channel real quick. Yeah.
So this is our first main view, and then we have Bob's view.
That's so slick. I love it.
Oh, we're getting shatters.
Yeah?
So they want to see FPS testing on games for air cooling versus liquid.
Okay.
If we can do that.
Sure. Don't have a lot of
hi,
games on.
Perry. I didn't even read your name. Hi.
Paste. We can do that. I do have 3D Mark on here and Battlefield 2042.
Are you ready to go?
I also have Apex. I don't have much more than that at the moment. We just sort of ran out of time as we have been really using the internet up a lot here, and we only had so much time to get all this installed over the last hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that is now on the boat channel. And yeah, sure. Let's
Switch to your desktop.
sure, we can do that. We can take this for a spin here. It's going to make me install the EA app. I don't have any of this game ready yet, but it should be good to go here in a hot second. No, let's see if it asks me to log in. If so, I'll have you switch off. It may not. What I really like about this is the microphone is right over the machine, right? So when it's under load, you should be able to hear it.
Right.
Hey, Daniel. And Ace, of course. Ace, man. I see you everywhere. That's awesome.
So when you start a game, you want me to mute the music and have the game volume coming through?
We don't need the game volume at all. Nah. Ace would like to see some FPS testing on games for air cooling and liquid cooling. So the difference in FPS testing, the FPS in general between air and water won't be too much, right? I mean, the thing performs very good to its limit, even on air. The difference is how much quieter it would be. That's what's really nice, is that I can set this up at my house now. I don't have to wear headphones. I don't annoy my wife and kids, at least not with the sound of a hairdryer. And that's what really makes this thing so great. Oh my gosh, all of my settings are going to be so out of whack. Let's do... Don't forget to mention temps at various times. Well, we're going to have real-time temperature here. Really like the idea of the liquid cooler. My current laptop is noisy. Yeah. Yeah, they are. Most laptops are. Most laptops should be. You've got to get that heat out of there, right? Oh, V-Sync. That's hot garbage. Let's get that off. That's fine. Ooh, that looks good.
See, somebody asked if we can run Hogwarts.
We have Hogwarts installed on one system. That ultimately, the plan today was to be able to compare the Mech 17 from the previous gen with the 3080 Ti to the 4090. Next week, we will get drives and games installed on all the major systems to compare to the two new ones and have a much better solution for you guys. But this, we literally set this up yesterday, finalized a lot of it over the last hour and a half, took the remaining part of that, installed a game or two, and that was pretty much all we had time for, as we were still building a lot of machines for the orders that have been coming in. So that's taken up a lot of our time. Is DLSS on? No DLSS. Like to see testing with DLSS off. I never use DLSS. Man, come on. I don't cheat. Any plans for an electronics laptop air cooler stand? I don't know. You mentioned it in the comment section, so we'll see it.
No, you're good.
Am I too loud?
No.
Not loud enough? Okay.
You're a little too quiet for my liking.
Yeah, Hogwarts, my understanding it's poorly optimized at the moment. Voice audio is quiet. Ace, I think Evan just fixed that. We're working on it. He says it's the new Crisis.
It's not that bad. I played it at home and it's fine.
So right now we've got the settings in here. Yeah, everything is just fully maxed out. The fans are not doing anything. I could turn them on full blast, but the system is very quiet at the moment. You don't have to run this much obnoxious, wattage through the system. You can if you want to. You can easily dial this down in real time. I personally think 12th and 13th gen run really well at around 35 watts, and we should be able to get some really good GPU saturation with that. So if you tune these machines, which you can do on the fly, the thermal performance is unbelievable, even on air, which we, of course, can showcase some of that. Let's see if I've got any good settings on here, enough to actually play this a little bit. So one thing about the wattage, I will say with the mods that we do have on this system with the Prima BIOS, is the wattage is not always what it seems. So the NVIDIA spec for the 4090 should be about 400 and let's see, wasn't that enough? 490 watts. 4090 by 175 watts. We should be able to push a little bit higher than that with the super performance switch. You can monitor this in testing. You can monitor this in a watt meter. You won't see it in third-party software. And when you start putting tweaks and tunes on laptops like this, some of the wattage doesn't always read as accurate as you would want it to. So don't quite buy into what this says up here. Performance of the 4090, at least in this game, is going to be... Oh, are we running out of internet here?
Are we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me check.
Our internet's pretty weak here.
It's like it just seems to be the game, right?
Yeah.
Because the stream's fine. Usually, if it's the internet, it's stream and game.
Yeah, the game's not having it.
Stream, we're still chilling.
So, let's see, where was I? Let me try this again. The 4090 should be up twice the performance of a 3070 Ti from what I've been testing so far over the last month or two. Evan, let me see that again. What's he saying there? Let's see if this thing will stick. All right, we'll let that load. A lot of this stuff you see in here is definitely going to change, like super performance switch. This is just raw control center wordage as well. It's probably going to say electro boost and various things like that. And yeah, this is about as raw as you're going to see it. Let's see if the game will actually launch without the stream having a fecal hemorrhage.
I hope so.
Oh yeah, this game crashes. It's lovely. Come up with a list, guys. Let me know what kind of games you want to see on here, and we'll get some of this stuff downloaded over the next week.
It's just weird that it loads into it.
Yeah, I couldn't even play this last night, and that was on a different laptop.
It's not.
Yeah,
Not just okay, cool.
I ended up playing Apex instead. I was having all sorts of funky issues. What's really funny about this is like I'm putting the microphone right over the keyboard. It cracks me up how quiet this thing is. Huh. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I've always gamed on laptops, and this to me, every time I try it, it just blows my mind. And then if we really want to get slick with it, we'll set this and that to right there. See how those did you guys see it for a second? Yeah, all the wattages and percentages get all weird.
It froze.
Oh yeah.
Wow, the audio is fantastic.
Is the audio good? At least we got that right. Yeah, this game's all bugged out. Yeah, this game's awful right now, guys. Sorry about this.
Hi everyone. Isn't this cool? All right, back to Bob we go.
All right, so hit me up with some questions that I can at least answer. If this game's not going to want to behave, we'll try out a different game. I think we'll give this one a whirl. The only thing I like about Apex is it kind of limits the FPS. If you set it to VSync, it'll run up to the display's refresh rate, so we can at least get a little bit more wattage and heat from it. What do you say? Give him a break, man. He's been grinding and not sleeping forever. Let's see if it's going to act all wonky in here.
I don't know if you answered this, but Ace asked, why would you want desync on instead of uncapped?
So, in this game, it gets really weird with... And Evan, you commented on this too, like how it wants to run at, 144 FPS for some reason?
Yeah, I could, even on desktop,
Yeah.
Running it on the test bench we have over there on the 4090 desktop version, it still would not get past 144 no matter what I did.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of a bummer. So if I were to turn off VSync, it'll just go to 144 hertz, which is not limited to this laptop, just kind of the weird way it is. I tried the whole max FPS unlimited thing, but it didn't work. My wife's like, when are you coming home? We're hungry. I'm not. I'm not. I'm literally typing this. I'm playing
D-Racer asked, do these laptops support USB-C charging for those times when we
No.
use our laptops for other basic stuff?
Nope, they do not. They do not. These laptops run off of big power supplies, no USB-C charging. But that is something we do want, and that might be something to everyone can look forward to perhaps this time next year. I can't make any promises. That's too far in advance, but that's things are trending to where that could be a possibility. Man, that's a lot of frames, right, dude? It's pretty. Let me do this now. Oh, that is lovely. One of my favorite things about laptops, and when I started the Bob of All Trades channel, is tuning them. Like if you really watch and monitor software and keep an eye on things and know how they work and set stuff up, you don't have to crank the wattage to the moon. As a matter of fact, what are we doing right now? About 175 FPS, 180. Let's turn this off. Let's turn this off. Turn that down. We'll let that settle in for a second. this is running for quite a bit too before you guys got on the stream. Keyboard temps in all the hot spots. 37 degrees Celsius. It starts to get really uncomfortable around 50. You'll never see it go that high. It's not even worth running the fan acoustics because it's the decibel test. It wouldn't really even do anything. It's so quiet. So quiet. Ace, I called it, hoping the keyboard would be full size. I want an enter key really bad too. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But we're not quite there yet. Let's let this sit here and bake for a few minutes. I want to try something. We'll turn off the LPP and see if you guys can pick up the fan noise. So right now it's very quiet. I've used laptops that have idled and sound like this. Oh, I got a question for everybody. I've heard numerous times, whether it's on Reddit, people just commenting on YouTube, messaging, you name it. I've seen some requests for a membrane keyboard. And we've talked about this internally, a little hesitant on it. The name mech sort of resembles mechanical, and that's kind of why we call it that. How important is that to you? Like, could we still provide a membrane solution, but call it a mech or tweak the name? Obviously, mem isn't going to work. That sounds kind of lame. But I've seen comments, people saying, I really like your laptops. Can I get one with a membrane keyboard? We currently do not offer one with a membrane keyboard. Nice. How you doing, Josh? He is a super good dude. I like him.
Yeah, I see he's verified.
Yeah. But he's a very fair content creator. I really like how he uses the laptops for his own needs and then expresses that in a video so people can really understand what it's like to use the laptop based on somebody that actually uses the laptop. And I really don't think there's too many channels out there that do that.
Right.
And so that's one of the things I really appreciate about Josh. Or just Josh. Can you guys hear that? I'm trying to clack away at the keyboard. Trying to get a little obnoxious with it. I know you guys in the room can hear it. Can you hear it on the speakers? Yeah. These are supposed to be browns, but they definitely are a little loud. They have a very satisfying sound to them. They sound really neat, but if you're in a very quiet environment, you may not appreciate this. Can't really hear it on stream, Josh? Okay. And I'm really just hammering away on the keys. Yep, that's right, Perry. I remember that. Blue and brown. That was cool. Perry, do you remember which ones actually sold more? Which one was more popular? I felt like the browns on the Mech 15 were quieter than this, but they did not feel anywhere near as good. This is a very nice feel to it, but these are cherry keys. And there's no wobble to them. They're really crisp. They feel great. Evan, you tweaking the bot?
Yeah, it timed that guy out for 30 seconds.
Did it really?
I said
Oh,
what I
jeez.
wanted to say. I didn't think it was going to be that mean.
This is a lot of good data, though, man. We'll have, yeah.
Yeah, that's my pool.
Yeah, I look forward to being heavily prepared next Friday,
Yeah.
if you're free.
I will be.
Okay,
Should be.
good. All right. Let's do a little bit of tuning here. Let's try something. I'm going to turn off the liquid cooler. It's 5:57 local time. You hear that? John, can you hear this?
I can hear it.
Fan's starting to come up a little bit now.
That happened pretty quick.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. That's how efficient that cooler is. So you can actually run the cooler and max the fans, and just maxing the fans really doesn't give you a huge thermal advantage. That's how efficient just moving water over these parts, because the space is so confined. Now, when it comes to fan acoustics on a laptop, decibel meters only go so far. And there's a difference, and anybody who's had their hands on enough laptops, even if it's just a few, knows the difference of a fan noise that goes whish versus whoosh. And yeah, clip that. It's embarrassing. But the fan noise from the Mech 16 has a much deeper whoosh noise than, let's say, the Max 15 and 17, and then the Mech 17. There's a lot of numbers and names in there. The Mech 17, I think, has some of the best fan noise. It's not obnoxious at all. This one, a little bit higher pitch. Mech 17, even a deeper sound. So it's quite pleasant on air. Now, this is not Max Fan, but this is ultimately what it's ramped up to. Any laptop that's running a lot of wattage should scale its fan curve nicely to the thermal throttle set point. So in my opinion, I think this is actually doing a pretty good job. We can max the fans here. The Q key, which is right next to the power button, can be set to either switch the modes or have it set for maximum fan. And as an enthusiast, that's how I like to set it. So if we do max fans,
Base wants to know what's the decibels right now.
all right, if we're really quiet, $50. I like to do this ear distance away. $50. Now watch this. Anybody that's watched any of my undervolting stuff, especially when it comes to the GPU, this is really cool. So as you can see, the graphics card's running around 160 something watts, and we're getting around 160 to 170 FPS. Let's see if I could do this without
Nick said, oh wait, I can.
locking up the machine.
Yeah, Nick, so the new LPP has a RGB fan in it. And it also has RGB for the liquid, right? Where you can see where the liquid is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yes, it's a lot more RGB than G1.
Aesthetically, it's a nice upgrade. I think it's a little bit quieter too, but it looks nice. It's a great looking unit.
They
So
want
I-
to see how easy the LPP is to connect and disconnect.
All right. So I didn't.
Do you want me to switch to the other cam?
No, this one's good. Are we still on me?
Well, we're on the.
And the screen?
We're showing the game.
Yeah, this is perfect.
Okay.
All right, so I kind of did this dirty. I put no time into it. This was a machine that we took off the shelf, and I built it today. But all I did was decrease the voltage of the graphics card, and I just sort of locked it in. You can do a lot of tuning here, but it literally took me like 20 seconds. I kind of wanted to play it safe so I wouldn't lock up the machine. But we were getting around 160 to 170 FPS before at around 160 watts. I brought this down to 115 watts by lowering the voltage requirement, but I also increased the clock speed a little bit. So not only are we running more efficiently, but at 155 FPS, sure, I could tune this and get us right back to where we were, and I can also do it to make sure that we're running far less wattage than we were before. The beauty of this now is you can combine this with the fans or the LPP or some sort of combination of the two while messing with the wattage inside the control center and do all this in real time, and you can pretty much get this to perform and sound the way you want to. And no other laptop can do that. Set aside this whole voltage curve editor thing, which is free for anybody to use. This doesn't even count because all machines are capable of it. It's the difference with the control center and how we have this thing tuned, plus the LPP, that really makes this very nice to use. And the challenging part as a content creator to try to express that to somebody who's generally always drawn to looking at benchmarks and fan acoustics, until you have something like this in front of you and you're feeling the heat on your hands and listening to the sound of it, it's really hard to convey that experience and just how great it is to have this tool here, along with just how easy it is to set this up. And for those that are really into tuning, the BIOS mods that we have in here, if I recall correctly, I think we have some of the records right now on 3D Mark, which is pretty awesome. It says a lot, and we're not putting these laptops in the freezer to tune them. As a matter of fact, some of the records that are being held are the chassis running on air without the LPP, which is pretty phenomenal. So right now, we did some wattage tuning. If we turn this liquid propulsion package back on, leave everything the way it is, let's see how cool we can make this.
George says hello.
Well, hello.
He said, hey, man, glad to see you guys do some fun.
Is that bot still going post 11?
Oh my gosh. I'm turning it off.
What are the decibels?
Alright, it's time to turn this stupid bot off. My goodness. I'll work on that another time. My gosh. Sorry about that.
I guess it would help if I reconnect the pump. There we go. Beautiful.
Time to go manual moderator mode.
Ooh, Electro.
It's funny because I had it on literally the weakest setting, and it's still banning after people say 2 words. Appreciate it, Nightbot.
All right, so let me address some of these questions because my screen did not follow them. Let's go back with, all right, so Ace, we took care of your decibels. LPP, RGB, yep. All right, this nice. So you do use the voltage curve editor. Undervolt around 900 millivolt. Well done. Ha! Dave 2D with the Freezer MacBook. Every time I mention Freezer, I always think of his video. It's great. Somebody said they wanted to see how, yeah, the fill port. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the fill port, we don't need a little funnel anymore. You can literally take and just put your water right down in there. It's great. So
Another fun announcement for everybody. We have an official Discord. It should work. If you type in !Discord in the chat, it should send a link. If it doesn't, I'll manually do it this time. But if you guys want to join that, we're starting that up. It's very, very fresh right now, so we're still working on it, but up to you guys.
Yeah, it's an official Discord, though, not the one that was created a while ago. Guess we don't have to run max fans anymore. Is there a list of options available in the Prima BIOS? Yeah, I can't really show them to you right now because it's not going to, carry over and record the screen that way. And I also want to make sure I'm not showing you other things such as MAC address and stuff like that. But there's a lot you can do. It's pretty nice. Undervolting, of course, which in this case, when systems are set to run at a very high wattage, undervolting tends to just increase your clock speed, and it won't necessarily cool your laptop more unless you are setting a set wattage point of, let's say, 35 watts, for example. So, let's, Evan, can they see the back of this?
You want me to switch to the other cam?
Yeah, sure. What does that look like on your end?
So you're the big one.
Oh, goody. All right, perfect. All right, so let's let me show you guys how this LPP works just to disconnect it. So there's going to be an instruction set. I'm also going to do a how-to video. And there's also a way that I think a lot of you are just going to do it. And I have taken the liberty to do all of the above many times just to make sure that this particular solution can handle the abuse. And if you just turn it off just like that, unplug it, this is magnetized, unplug it from here, and that was pretty savage. A couple little water droplets there, and that was me literally ripping it off. Would I suggest you do that? No. Do I think a lot of you just will as you have ownership of this for several months and the honeymoon phase wears off? Absolutely.
Sir, the microphone's over there.
Can you not hear me?
They said it was a little quiet.
All right. So ultimately, it is that easy. Should you be a little bit more gentle with it? Yes. But like I'm trying to say, after the honeymoon phase wears off, you're just going to start disconnecting, plugging things in. It doesn't spew out a bunch of water. It's got this little magnetic solution, and it is very nice. And when you want to reconnect it, plug it back in, reconnect it with the app, and it's good to go. So it is really, really nice. And to be honest with you, if you are worried about, there's a couple drops there. If you're worried about anything, worry about making sure that you put distilled water in here. Don't run tap water. You don't need to, bring corrosion into this thing. It's going to void your warranty. It's bad news. So please, distilled water is cheap. We've had the same gallon here for probably the last year testing various LPPs. And it is getting pretty low. I mean, we don't have much left, but it's good to have on hand, and it's something that you may want to just consider replacing.
Here, I'll show them our
Maybe, what's that?
gallon.
Yeah, we've had that for about a year now.
This is what we use.
Yeah.
And it's very low.
Yeah. But it is nice. Now, this LPP also, this was our second one that we took delivery of. The final ones will be here soon, so we don't even have the best version of it yet. I don't expect there to be a big difference, but there's always different phases that these things come to us as they improve throughout the weeks as we take delivery of them. But yeah, this one works pretty good. It's very quiet. I like the magnetic clasp. It is pretty slick. Yeah. Nick says, yeah, that's definitely a realistic demo. I also take these things and I put them in the back of my car filled with water for the last one I think I did for 6 weeks just to see how much water would leak out of it. And again, I know it's probably irresponsible of me, but I also understand as the director of technology and service, you guys are going to do this too. And I can tell you, please don't. But after a while, you're just going to get used to these things and you're going to be really willy-nilly with them and just use them how you want. So I can assure you through my own testing, this thing can withstand being in the back of my car for quite a while and it didn't leak any water. Should you do it? No. But just, I want you guys to feel comfortable knowing that, wow, a laptop that can run off of a water solution, how dangerous is that? What are my expectations? What's this going to be like 2-3 months down the road? I beat the heck out of this stuff, and so far so good, and I've been doing that since I've been working here. So the reality of it is I know what you're going to do because I'm one of you, and I use this stuff just like anyone else. So take that for what it's worth. I don't think you're going to hear anything more honest than that.
Nick asked if they can see the LPP control software.
Of course.
Yeah, let's switch over.
Absolutely. I like that we're still running on air.
Are we really?
Yeah, it's super quiet. So nice. So let's get you plugged in. I'll make sure I get this mic back. Oh yeah, this thing's not even screwed in at the bottom panel in case you guys want to see the cooling solution. We can talk about that as well. So when you first get this thing, you'll push the button up front. It'll blink blue. There'll be a how-to video covering this. But that just means it's in Bluetooth pairing mode. And then you'll see some sort of command like this. Is it too quiet?
No, you're good. I'm just going to turn it all the way up and then I'll control it from my end.
Nice. And then hit connect. And it's good to go. I wonder if I could simulate a pump status issue. This is really neat. This stuff actually works. So this whole pump status thing, if for some reason the magnetic part did not clip together right, yeah, thanks. He's like, he needs AC power back in. It's still going to work anyway. But, yeah. Sorry. Somebody watching the stream helping me out. Bob plugging the laptop. Anyway, where was I? It connects very easily. Sorry, I just bumped it. This pump status, if it starts to leak a little bit because it didn't connect right, it'll stop. It'll give you a little warning and then just reconnect it. It's very simple. What else is in here? Auto. Auto, as long as it satisfies the temperatures, the fan will stop spinning, which we'll probably do here in a few seconds, which is kind of nice. To me, the fan's not very loud. The pump will still run, so there will be something you can hear on an audible level. I personally like to leave it at balanced, but yeah, it's personal preference. Quiet, please, and I said, shush. Those are funny to me. It's subtle. I'm trying to really be as quiet as I can here to hear. Yeah, that is pretty quiet. I wish you guys could hear this, but I'm also glad you can't because that means it's working. This stuff is really slick to the RGB. Evan, is there any way we can change the camera position or can I turn this thing around because I want them to see this? I'm not a big RGB guy, but it is really cool on this fan. What do you think? Should I move the camera around?
I can do that. What do you need?
Just put it over here, if you don't mind.
Straight on?
Yeah, just angle it towards this. Is that coming in pretty clear?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, so here's the stock color. You've got your sliders. Really nice. You can make it white. Back here, though, I don't know about you, this does look a little blue. It's supposed to be white. just looks a little blue to me. We could make it red. I mean, you could scale this stuff all over the place how you want to. You have the colorful one. Rotate. Another one too, like so, the fan is rotating in different colors, or if you decide to go rainbow, but you can change this first. So let's say I want this to be purple, and then do rainbow, or rotate, or breathing. So there is a way to sort of customize the color of the fill window and the fan. You just have to do the window first. Pretty simple. Liquid injection mode. This year for the LPP, you can do this via hardware or within the software. The liquid injection is just, the first time you fill it, maybe there's some air bubbles in the system as it runs through all the hoses. And that's just a good way to clear that out. So upon initial connection, it may be a little bit louder. At the liquid injection mode will help clear that up. So it's very quiet. And what does that sound like? Listen. Got the microphone right on the system, and liquid injection mode is running right now. Evan, can you hear that at all?
What? I didn't even know it was on.
Yeah. That's pretty quiet.
No, typically if it's loud,
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, it sounds like a jet engine's about to start.
Yeah.
And I'll say it. But no, I honestly didn't even know it was really even running right now.
This thing's hysterical.
Do you want me to switch it back to you now?
Sure. All right, folks, what else you got? What other questions you have for me? Evan, I would say next week we'll get a bunch of games installed on here. We'll get a whole kind of script written out so we can get Cinebench in there, a bunch of benchmarks.
Yeah.
Today was fun for me because I really wanted to see what this stream was even going to look like. I'll go back and watch it tonight, make some adjustments, and we'll continue to do this on the Eluktronics channel, especially when we have new product. We'll make sure that we have... Can we get a 70 series going next week? We'll be past the 22nd, yeah? What is today?
Yeah.
Okay.
By next Friday.
So we'll be able to hopefully we'll be able to get 4070, 4080, 4090 on these, on the mechs, and then compare them to the previous generation. We can easily do that.
Can the screen go?
On the mech 17, about 380 nits. The mech 15, apparently 350. I don't see the difference between the two. They both tend to check out closer to 380 to upper 300s.
Right, okay.
240 hertz, 1600p, G-Sync, Advanced Optimus, which means it has a dynamic mux switch, and you can also go straight to dedicated GPU within the BIOS, which is how I tend to use my gaming laptops. This is great. I hope you guys do this more often. We plan to. We are very excited to do this.
Have any suggestions or things that we can possibly improve on, let me know, or let us know. Again, this is our first one, so we're obviously going to be improving from here on out. So if you guys have any suggestions or whatnot that we can look into, I'm all ears.
Next week, I'll have a liquid propulsion package G2 video on a how-to. I'll do that right here in the studio so you guys can really get an understanding of how this works in a nicely organized 3-minute video or so. We'll get that done. Color accuracy is on displays, 100% sRGB.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Do we want to show any other games, or is that...
The only thing I've really got are just those two, but I can download a bunch over the weekend.
Right.
Yeah, they're pretty stacked, man. They're very capable, and they're quiet. Like, do you understand how cool that is? No pun intended. Like, that is such a nice thing to have. One of the things that used to drive me nuts when I was editing a lot more often, just maybe a year or two ago, was like how it was a battle, because the Ryzen laptops I can usually get to idle a little bit quieter, but they weren't good for video editing. They weren't up to speed on the software that I use. And the Intel machines did a much better job, but they would constantly ramp up and down. Now, obviously, that was a few generations ago. Things are a lot more powerful. Nonetheless, when you're trying to record commentary and your laptop fans ramp up, that's no fun. There's just a lot of nice laptop life improvements that you get from having this, but it's also not required. You don't need it. And this can stay home with you. I mean, really, unless you want to go to a LAN party, you can just leave your LPPG2 at home, take your laptop with you to work, do your thing, come back home, plug it in, and in 30 seconds, it's all it's really going to take to plug it in and connect it, and you're good to go. And that's really nice. You can travel with it if you're a savage. It's not my cup of tea. I wouldn't want to carry all this stuff with me, even though it's not bulky. It's just I like having this at the house, and it's there to use when I want to game quietly. That's really nice.
Does the Nick B ask if the touchpad is...
No, it still has the sticker on it. So does the back of the... Actually, does the back of the display have the sticker on the A cover? No. So, I mean, this was literally a brand new machine pulled from the box. I built it. It still has the stickers. And in fact, it had the whole sleeve over the module here. I pulled that off just before we started recording. So this machine is brand new. So, yeah. So, yeah, you can peel this off. But it's a glass trackpad. Windows precision. It's pretty nice.
Jeffrey asked, do the fans tend to not ramp up and down quickly on light usage with periodic CPU spikes?
I would say the fans do maintain pretty well on that. When you first, here's what people have to realize. When you first get the laptop and you're doing all your Windows updates, I don't care what system you're on, the fans just ramp up. I mean, we've seen this happen on desktop. So when you take delivery of this and you get everything updated, then use it in Judge. So yes, at that point, it does a very good job of being a much tamer type fan solution at that point. But when you're doing Windows installation, the fans just naturally ramp up. That's not limited to electronics laptops. That's just a lot of Windows-based PCs in general. But good question, though.
This is our new office studio, so expect to see us in here a lot more, and expect it to get some wall art and character to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty slick room. Just buzzing through some of these comments here, see if there's anything that we missed.
Yeah, I'm giving people some time to ask questions if they think of any.
One thing that Eluktronics brought back for this year, and in the name of the whole David and Goliath campaign, which I think is brilliant, the company owner came up with this, and he's really is the brains behind this whole operation. I really appreciate what he did this year, because being able to offer these competitive prices, it's one thing, it's great, but as like an enthusiast personally who's comfortable around hardware, being able to buy something like this bare bones is fantastic. And I think that if you were comfortable around doing that, or being able to select various components and then maybe opt out of others, take delivery of it, and then finish it off yourself, is really, really slick. And with me here and our service center, we want to make sure that we're here for you when you do run into any trouble. So if there's any compatibility issues, should you buy RAM that might not be working, we want to do our best to help direct your sales there. And that right there is kind of why maybe that hasn't been an option with the company, but we feel good at this point to where we have a team here that can help you the best that we possibly can to make sure that, okay, you bought a bare bones laptop, you call in and we can help you. And I think that's really neat. So that was something that sort of disappeared with a lot of companies, and it's nice to see that come back. So hopefully you guys appreciate that as much as I do.
Perry says next week we should do a side-by-side testing showing performance in the laptops. Same game side-by-side, see what the difference is.
Absolutely. That was the goal today. If we had more time, or it would just require more time to get between Evan and I using our accounts. You put one of our accounts on, you try to download as many games as you can, and then do the same thing. Right now, the master drive that I have in here will work on all the Mech 16s and 17s, but I want to make sure that I have all of these systems ready to go, so I'm not having to swap out hardware. So Perry, absolutely. We'll definitely make that happen next Friday. Bought your Mac 17 bare bones. Nice.
I love the Max series. I'm
Yep.
sad that they're not being continued.
It was around for a while, though.
It was,
I think that came around 9th generation. So 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 years is a long time for, a chassis to not make too many changes besides hardware advancements like the Muck switch, and a few machines had Advanced Optimus, maybe on the Max 15 and Mech 15 for the 2070 Super, I believe it was.
Mick says he has the Max 15, loves it too, but the new LPP and 4090 is really starting to tempt him.
This is the first generation, and those that have known me for years know that this is the absolute truth. I'm a 60 series guy. I've always been, into just, the bang for the buck. The 4090 is so fast that this is the one that I just gravitate towards. It's unbelievable. I can't believe I can get this kind of frame rate. It's really awesome. Now,
Hi,
yes.
Jared.
Who's
Sorry
that?
to cut you off.
Jared's in here?
Yeah.
Oh, Jared.
I'll continue what
Love
were
you,
saying.
buddy.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all right. It's Jared. Got to roll the red carpet, man. He's a good dude. Jared, man, next time you're in the States, I'm going to buy you a milkshake.
Milkshakes here are pretty good.
Yeah. My man loves the milkshakes. Jared is a cool dude. Only thing I don't like about him is he's taller than me. I don't like
Taller than
that.
me?
I did not like. I don't think so.
Ah, got you.
It's deceiving, man. You get next to Jared and you're like, whoa, man, you are tall.
Jared, you gotta join us on our stream.
Yeah. Jared, you're like what, 16 hours ahead of us though. We're in Eastern time zone, so we can make that happen. But yeah, he's a few minutes ahead. That's all right. He doesn't sleep anyway. He pumps out videos like that, so he'll be game for it.
As he should.
Yeah, Jared, so if you're just joining or you're still in here, this is the studio. We just set up all the stream equipment yesterday, giving this a little bit of a trial run on the Eluktronics channel. We're getting all of our laptops finely tuned over the last 2 weeks, which has been it's been a run, man. It's been a pretty crazy last couple of weeks because it's like putting high performance parts in a car that you just took delivery of and you're about to go to the races. You know what I mean? There's like so much work that goes into it, and it's freaking awesome. So very happy to be part of this. And I've been looking forward to this right now for the last week and a half, just to kind of wind down a little bit and get back to some of the things that I used to do. So there's a lot of data that I'm processing in my head, a lot of things that we'll get together for next week, and then we'll do this again next Friday.
Jared says it's 10:30 a.m. where he is.
Yeah.
It's 6:30 p.m.
Right. So was I right? That's 16 hours, yeah?
Yeah, you said around there, yeah.
Yeah.
He likes the studio.
Thanks, man. I'll send you some pictures. What's your temperature right now? What's your ambient temp outside, Jared? It's probably really warm.
Why are you asking me?
It's probably super warm.
I'm jealous.
Mm-hmm.
If it is.
I don't know. My hands are frozen right now.
How? You know.
You guys, you're probably cooking over there with that space heater, aren't you? Nice. Yeah, it's 26 degrees Celsius, so it's going to hit 35 C today.
Dang.
95 degrees Fahrenheit.
Alright, that's a little hot. That's like the most I'll be okay with.
95's your limit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also depends on the humidity.
What about you, John?
I like a crisp 82.
A crisp
That's a good one.
82,
I
a
like
little
that one
breeze.
too.
Very nice.
Alright, so I'm going to show everybody what our camera angles are.
Yeah, sure.
So we have the first camera angle, which is just everybody here, and you have Bob up in the corner. And then, so basically this is kind of the view when we're just kind of hanging out, everybody's talking, we're having conversations or doing special stuff. Then we'll switch it over to the view that we were just on.
Yep.
So you can see Bob in all of his glory with us still in the corner, so you can still kind of see stuff going on, but you can see the close-up of the camera, or not the camera, the computer, the LVP, everything you need to see, and Bob's beautiful face. Then we switch over. Is there anything bad on the computer right now?
No.
All right. Then we switch over to
No more lady pics. Go for it.
laptop that we are testing and showing off. So you can still see Bob. You can't see me, so I shouldn't be moving. But you can still see Bob. You can still see our computer that's running. And then we switch on back to us. Ta-da! Okay, so we have more questions.
You did a
Will
great
there
job.
be an updated Prometheus XVII, or are there other 16:9 laptops coming anytime soon?
Interesting. I appreciate the question, especially the 16:9 laptop. So the trend right now is 16:10. Not very many people are doing anything new 16:9 at the moment. So I can't comment on that. As far as an updated Prometheus, it's stuff we've talked about. There's some potential. A lot of times we will have anytime we'll have all sorts of laptops here. If they don't make the cut for us, we don't proceed with production. The standards are very high here. So currently we are talking about a new Prometheus. There's a little bit more than just talking, but who knows if it's something we're going to pull the trigger on. We'll just have to wait and see. I personally, and Evan, I think you agree, what we've talked about with the potential Prometheus would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah, the Prometheus, I like it, but there's a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, it would. Yeah,
Definitely, the keyboard's my favorite part of that. I think. If
You
we
like
keep
the
that
membrane keyboard?
and we make just the build quality a little bit higher. It'll
Yeah.
be good.
if a new one were to come out, I think it would. I think it would get a redesign. I think it would deserve a redesign.
I think it deserves one as well.
But the name, I think the name should stay. I like the name.
It fits.
Yeah. Ace. I like having the portability of a laptop. Me too. Yeah, same here. I've gone back and forth over the last 6 or 7 years into a desktop a couple of times, and it lasted for maybe 24 to 48 hours, and I didn't like it.
That is the Mech 16 in front of Bob right now.
Yeah.
So, well, the 17 is the same as the 30 series one that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really no difference between that to really show. But yeah, the one right in front of Bob currently that we're using to show off is the 16-inch.
I like it. I like the 16 a lot. I
mean,
think
you've been
it's an
more hands-on
appropriate
with
size
it
for me.
Than I have. I've been more with the 17. So eventually, once I get to the 16s, I think I'll like it.
Nice. Jared's got the 16 with 4070 in it.
Sweet.
I think the cooling design on the 70 series too is a little bit different than the 80 and 90. It's just a few things have changed. Not much. It's just subtle, but yeah. This is good. Got a lot of good information. Oh, you.
Ta-da! LTT screwdriver. Yay!
You are the biggest fan. I love it.
Barry has one of those too.
No way, he got
He
one.
does. Yeah. Perry got one too.
Sure if he got one or not.
I'll tell you what. Not to shill that product, but it's nice.
Yeah.
The build quality of it's great. The click is good. I feel like that could take some abuse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice product. It's not cheap for a screwdriver, but it's really good. They did a great job.
Ace asks, have you gained with the Mech 16 with open back headphones? Open back headphones seem unusable with laptops.
And I'm assuming that would be on air. I'm going to assume that's on air. Yeah, so I would say other than the Arctis headset, I use open backs more than anything. In fact, what are my Philips SP95? I don't remember the model number. Those are so old. Yeah. But I bought them because when my children were like babies, I wanted to make sure that I could hear what else was going on in the house while I was testing laptops and gaming. Father of the Year award, here we go. So that's why that headset came about. So I really like the open back design. And yeah, I have no problem using it gaming on these devices, especially the 17. So if you were here in the early part of the stream when I talked about the fan differences, I think others will back me up on here on Reddit because I've seen them say it numerous times. The Mech 17 at max fan has a really nice fan sound compared to any other laptop. The Mech 16's not too far behind, but the 17 just takes the cake on that. We'll explore all of this next week. We'll be very well prepared for that to showcase that.
Jared, I don't think we're going to LTX. We're not going to LTX, right? No, we are not going to LTX. Perry asks, have you guys noticed a difference in airflow/fan curve between the 16 and 17?
No. As far as like RPM goes, in airflow meaning like what does it feel like coming out? I used to do these weird tests where I would take like almost like a pom-pom and put it in front of the laptop so you could see the airflow moving. I don't have to do that if I was still reviewing, I don't feel like I would have to do that anymore because laptops are built a lot better than they were back in 2016, 17. But yeah, the fit and finish wasn't that good. Like the fans would just rip, but no air would come out. And that's not the case now. So Perry, you'll have to, if you want to elaborate more or just message me on that. For me, the best choice is whichever has the quietest fan noise. Well, if you're fine with using the LPP, then the competition is in the dust. If you know how to tune a laptop, you can get pretty far on a lot of devices. Ours are a lot easier and have a ton more wiggle room for all the above than anything else that I'm aware of. And I don't even see how that would even be close. And the 17 at max fans is just, it's spectacular. I can't get over it. It's nice. Rainbow mode on the new cooler. Yeah, it is awesome. It's very nice. It's the best. Yeah, exactly.
It does look really good.
Yeah.
It's a very subtle feature that makes it pop a lot more than the first version. I don't know why they didn't even do it on the first version when they have a wide open vent area that you can see the fan.
What I think is really nice is, though, Evan, is the evolution of the LPP from the first gen to second.
Absolutely.
Usually don't see it like that. I mean, they changed it up a lot just for they improved quality of life by being able to fill it, to see how far it's being filled. They made it pop, and it's more of like a basic shape instead of that angular futuristic thing. And if you're all for that, that's fine. You can still use that. Both of them do the job just fine.
Right.
And then they went with almost like a MagSafe type connection, which I was a little nervous about it, but it works. It works under abuse too, which is nice.
Yeah, sorry I'm a little quiet. I'm trying not to have both mics pick our voices up, so trying to find the happy medium of the volumes.
Sim Citizens asked, any chance of doing a non-cherry keyboard? So this question was brought up earlier, and I don't want to skip over this. I think this is important. So a membrane solution for these could potentially be achieved, but I got to ask, and this is a big deal, these are called mechs for a reason. The mechanical keyboard, hence the name. What do we do? Give me your honest opinion. If we put a membrane keyboard in here, what do we call it? Asking as a friend, what do we call this thing? I really want to know. I think it would. I want to believe it would be popular, but I just don't know. I mean, we've talked about this internally. Like, what do we call this thing? You know, we really like this the way that it is, but I personally don't want to ignore the fact that I'm asked this almost daily. Keep the mech name.
The Mem 15.
We're not doing Mem 15.
Do it.
Jared, you hush. No, we are not doing Mem 15. Not doing
we
Mem
should do
15.
Mambo number 5. There we go.
No.
Good one. The Mem 17. Good.
So it's, and I'm only going to speak for myself when it comes to this conversation here. But does the name mech, has that created the identity of the laptop in itself, or does it strictly tie back to the fact that it has a mechanical keyboard? And sometimes the more you think about that, the harder it is to answer that question. I would really like to think that the mech is a name that stands alone as a chassis and not solely the keyboard. And if we can get around that, then I think we could do something with it. But at the same time, the Max was just maximum performance for that weight. The Mag was magnesium alloy. Like all the play on words, we passionately like that, you know? And that's kind of where it gets difficult. And would the membrane really do that well? Would it? I mean, I could do a community poll this evening and see what you guys really think, and let that poll run for the next couple of weeks, you know, and see where it actually sits. Because sometimes it's really easy to have a knee-jerk reaction, and I'm asked to do something on the daily, but then when we do it, it's crickets. You know, we have to be careful about that. What we've got here is fantastic, and it looks and feels great. But if enough people are asking for membrane stuff, perhaps it's something we could consider. Just Josh. It's the identity of the laptop itself. You guys are telling me what I want to hear. Be careful. I do like the way that sounds. Neck stands alone. Come on, somebody disagree. What's your take on the air jets system? Any plans on adding them to your laptops? Ooh, I don't know. I'm going to screenshot that and check that out. There. Just screenshot that. I'll check that out later. Huh. All right, guys. We're going to go. My wife's going to kill me. But do me a favor, if you don't mind. This channel, Evan, this is set to just stay, right?
It should.
Okay.
I mean, if it doesn't post right away,
If it
it'll
doesn't,
stay unlisted, and then I can make
go
it
to the
public.
Bob of All Trades community tab. I did post a link and some conversation about this going live today. I want some more feedback. If this stays live, then stay here tonight, tomorrow, ask some questions. I will jump back into this all weekend long. And let's get some conversation going. Let me know feedback on the stream.
Yeah, definitely
Anything we
feedback
can
on the
do to
stream.
improve, what you're looking forward to. I want to make sure that I cover everyone's expectations thoroughly next Friday as far as fan acoustics, performance, benchmarks. But as somebody who's been using laptops heavily to game on selfishly and to take them everywhere for the last 7 or 8 years, what I have right here before you, I could have picked the 17. I love the portability of the 16. I love the LPP. I absolutely adore this laptop. I think it's perfect for me. So that's why it's here, and I absolutely love it, and I don't think it can be beat as a total package from anyone. And that's it. That pretty much sums it up. Evan,
Yo.
you want to clock us out?
Yeah.
Keep the
again,
conversation rolling, guys, please. I'll
give
answer
us
everything.
Feedback. This was our first one, and we're going to keep this going. So please let us know what we can improve on and whatnot. Other than that, have a great rest of your night or day, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
See you guys.